Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I have about 20 palettes sitting here that I want to focus on using this winter. For every season, I normally switch out my palettes and I have one drawer that where I do my Shop My Stash videos once a week. So I use these palettes for that. So normally for the summer I use bright colorful, spring is more pastel, fall is more of those warm toned neutrals, and today I will be showing you my winter palettes. Again, you don't have to use palettes in a specific season. You can use whatever colors you want. You can do a bright, bold, colorful look in the winter. That is fine with me. Sometimes I do that as well. But these are kind of palettes that I want to focus on for the winter. So this video is inspired by Morgan Turner here on YouTube. She does do these videos. So if you haven't seen her channel yet, I would definitely recommend subscribing to her channel. So we have a lot to get through, so let's get started. I have a lot of palettes sitting in front of me here. I have about a little over 20 palettes sitting here. So let's start off with this first little stack here. The first palette I have here is from Nomad Cosmetics. This is the Whistler Snow Lodge palette. I think this is perfectly themed. It is winter themed. But then you have these kind of blue shades here, some minty green shades here. But then you also have these warm tones and neutrals throughout the palette. I love Nomad's formula, so I think this will be perfect for the winter time. And then I have a Christmas theme palette. This is from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. This is the Christmas Morning palette, and these are just really beautiful Christmas shades. You have greens, you have reds, you have the gold, and then you also have silver. Really, really beautiful. These shimmers are so beautiful. I always love using this palette during the holidays. Sticking with the Christmas theme, I have from ColourPop. This is the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer palette. Let me just show you the packaging up close. Really, really pretty. And then of course on the inside you have a bunch of Christmassy shades. You have the greens and then you also have the reds, but then you do have quite a bit of neutrals in this palette, which I think is really, really pretty. I loved using this palette last year. It came out last year. I'm hoping they come out with another collection with them this year, but who knows if they will or not. But I really enjoyed this palette when I used it during the holiday season last year, so I'm excited to use it again. From McGrath, I have the Mothership Devine Rose 2. This is what the palette looks like. It's much more of a pinky neutral palette. As you can see, I've hit pan on this shade. I'm getting really close to hitting pan on this shade, so that is my goal, is to hit pan on this shade as well. But I kind of wanted to throw in some more neutral palettes as well. From Sydney Grace, I have one of the collaborations with Temptalia. This is the On the Horizon Light palette. I think this color story is perfect for the winter time. You have these kind of darker blues down here, and then you have some greens, and you also have some pinky purpley tones. I think this is perfect for the winter. You can do a really nice deep dark eye look with this, and I think it is so beautiful. These two shimmers down here, I love putting all over the lid. Such a beautiful palette. Another neutral palette here. This is from Patrick Ta. This is the Major Dimension 2 palette, which is more of the rosier tone palette. Again, I kind of wanted to throw in some neutrals since I haven't been really using neutrals that often. So I have this palette. I've used this a couple times and I really like the formula. I need to play with it a little bit more, as well as these cream shades here. From Glamlite, I have the Chocolate Martini palette, which is again more of a neutral palette here. I'm surprised how many neutral palettes I have picked out. I really like to use colorful eyeshadow if you haven't seen my channel before. Then I have the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. Again, more neutrals. This is a pinky neutral. Most of my neutral palettes are leaning more pink toned, if you haven't noticed. I love this palette. This is such a good palette. I love using this. This is one of my favorite more neutral palettes, if you want to call it that. And we guessed it, another pinky neutral palette. This is the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I really love this palette. I haven't used it in a bit, so I'm excited to use it again. I love the quality of this palette, and I always love the looks that I come up with when I use this palette, so I'm excited to use it again. Then the last palette from this stack, this is the J.Cat Beauty Noche palette. This is such a beautiful palette. It was only like $7 or $8 too, but the shimmers are so beautiful. I'm excited to use that green, both of these green actually. I'm excited to use those. I think these will be beautiful for the winter time. Moving on to this stack here, I have the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette in collaboration with Angelica Nikavas. This is such a beautiful palette. I love to use this during the winter time. You have these deep dark blues and some greens. You also have some purples, warm tones. I love using this palette during the colder months. I see a pattern, pinky neutrals, dark blues and greens with some warm tones and neutrals. That is apparently what I'm going for with these palettes. I love using this palette. I definitely need to use it some more because it is getting a little bit older. So I definitely want to get some more use out of it. Another collaboration with Angelica Nikavas. This is the Oden's Hela palette. I think this is so beautiful. I know this is a little bit brighter for the winter time, but these are more grungy shades on the eye, and I really enjoy them. I also wanted to use more of these shades down here, and then you have these greens also, this green here to kind of deepen everything up, and then these shimmers that are pretty deep as well. So that's why I'm using this palette, just for more of the grungier shades. And then I do kind of want to do more deeper eyes with a deeper shimmer. That is my goal for this winter. I have two more palettes from Oden's Eye. This is the palette that I have on my eyes today. This is the Christmas Eve palette. This is much more of a cooler tone palette, which I normally don't lean towards. I don't really think like silvery shades look the best on me, but I think this color story is beautiful. I will do a little close-up of my eye look if you can see that. I have this shade all over my lid. It is so beautiful. It is like a multi-chrome. When I look at it this way, it looks blue. When I look at it in the camera, it looks purple. It is so shifty. It is beautiful. I love that shade. I will be wearing that shade a lot. But yeah, so this is new to my collection, and of course it's Christmas themed, so it is perfect for the winter time. And then you have its sister palette, which is the Merry Christmas palette. So this is more of a green toned palette, but then you have some reds in here, and then you have a pink here, some pops of colors down here at the bottom, but mostly up here it's greens. I'm really excited to use this palette. I have not used it yet, so I definitely want to dig into it, but I'm really excited to use this palette. This shimmer swatched beautifully, so I'm excited for that, but definitely going to be using these two for the winter time. I forgot another Christmas theme palette. This is the Kylie Cosmetics and the Grinch collaboration. This is pretty much a green tone palette, and I noticed that it doesn't have really deep shades. I wish I had a darker green in here, but this is a very neutral green palette. I will be honest, if I don't use it this year, I probably will declutter it, so I really want to get some use out of this palette, so I'm going to try my best to get some use out of it. This is a face and eye palette. This is from Ofra Cosmetics. It is the Beyond Words palette in collaboration with Leora. So you have the eyeshadows up here, and then you have your bronzer, blush, and highlight down here. I think these are perfect for the fall and also the winter time, so I definitely need to get some more use out of this palette. I love the look that I came up with when I did my review on this, so I definitely need to use it some more. These next two palettes are definitely more colorful. hear me out, I have an explanation for them. This is the Ace Beauté Palatopoli palette. This is definitely more, I have a dog hair in it. This is definitely more colorful, but you have these deeper purples in here, and you also have these blues, and you have some grungier shades down here. One, I need to use this palette more. Two, I needed a little bit of color in here since I was kind of sticking to the same kind of color stories. So I definitely wanted some more color, and I wanted to play with this palette some more. So I think this will be pretty for the winter time. But then you also have these hot pinks over here, which I am excited to use. I haven't done a hot pink look in a while, so I think I'm gonna do that soon. So that is why I want to use this palette. The next palette is also colorful. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Vitality palette. Again, colorful, but I have another trend. Dark purples, dark blues, you have the dark greens, but then you also have some more neutrals, some more pinky tones over here. I don't know why I'm leaning towards purples, blues, and greens right now, but that's what I'm going for this winter apparently. So really colorful palette. One of the reasons why I want to use this is this is embarrassing, I have not used this yet. Okay, beautiful palette, have not used it yet. So that is the reason why I want to use this. Also, it's such a beautiful palette, I don't know why I have not used it yet, so I'm gonna use this. Going back into more of the neutral palettes, this is from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. This is the Dollhouse palette. This does have pops of colors in it, as you can see, these blues, purples, and some greens, but it's more of a neutral palette. I love this palette. Again, I'm not really a neutral person, but if it's neutral with like a little bit of color, I will wear it. Like these purples, they're kind of neutral, but it's still purple. These pinks, neutral, but pink. Same thing with the orange row kind of, this green row over here. I will be wearing this for the winter. I think these deeper shimmer shades are so beautiful. I will definitely be using this. I love a good colorful neutral palette. We're almost done. We have 3 palettes left. This is from Glamlite. This is the Michaela palette. This is the second palette that she came out with. Again, greens, purples, and blues. This is becoming a trend for me. I don't know why. I definitely want to use these greens kind of during the Christmas time, and also these blues kind of in January. I think that would be really pretty. So that's kind of why I want to use this palette. I'm not gonna lie, I did use this during the fall. Not as much as I wanted to, which is why I'm bringing it into my winter palette selection. So want to get some more use out of it, and I think it's a really pretty palette. I haven't even used these blues yet. I think I've only used the purples and greens, so I'm really excited to continue to use this palette. From Pat McGrath, I have the Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey palette. This is her holiday palette that she came out with last year. I have not decided whether I want this year's palette. I have the first 2. I haven't decided whether I want the third one or not yet, so I'm gonna use this one because I haven't really used this one as much as I have wanted to. I'm gonna use this one before I decide if I'm going to get the third one. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. More of a neutral palette. Pretty much all of the mattes are more neutral, but then the shimmers, you kind of have these greens and blues. You have a gold here. So really pretty. I definitely need to get some more use out of that. So I'm going to make it a point to use this palette. Last but not least, I have a brand new palette that I just got in the mail today. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. This is from Laura Lee Los Angeles. This is the Whimsical Nudes palette. Look how beautiful this packaging is. It's stunning. The presentation of the box that it came in, it was all wrapped up, was beautiful. I'm excited to use this palette. I haven't even touched it or swatched it or anything. It's more of a neutral palette with some pops of greens. So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to do a video on it. So you're kind of getting a little bit of a sneak peek. My next video after this will be probably this palette. So I'm really excited to use this palette since I haven't even used it yet. So that is everything for today's video. I had a little over 20 palettes that I'm going to use this winter. So you will see these palettes in my Shop My Stash videos. So yeah, that is everything. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure to follow my Instagram, Logan K Makeup. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye everyone. Have a good one.